Yesterday, January 16, 2026, the United States Supreme Court delivered a decision that instantly reverberated across the globe. The marble steps of the court, usually a symbol of steady tradition, became the epicenter of a legal earthquake. As the sun set over Washington, D.C., the world's attention turned to a single building, waiting for answers that would affect millions. In a rare emergency session, the court's 6-3 ruling on the Federal Digital Infrastructure Act has upended the balance of power between the federal government and the states. The decision, debated for weeks behind closed doors, was finally made public in a packed courtroom, with every word scrutinized by legal experts and ordinary citizens alike. The ruling's language was clear, but its implications are anything but simple. The news broke late Friday, sending shockwaves through financial markets from Tokyo to London and igniting urgent conversations in American homes. Investors scrambled to interpret what this meant for the future of technology and commerce, while families gathered around screens, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Social media platforms lit up with speculation, concern, and debate as the world tried to process the magnitude of the moment. This isn't just legal theory. It's about the digital tools we use, the security of our infrastructure, and the rights we've long taken for granted. From the smartphones in our pockets to the servers powering our daily lives, the ruling touches every corner of our digital existence. Parents wonder how their children's online safety will be affected, while businesses question how to adapt to a new legal landscape. The world is watching because what happens in America rarely stays in America. International leaders are already weighing in, and global companies are reassessing their strategies. The ripple effects of this decision are being felt in boardrooms and parliaments far beyond U.S. borders, as everyone tries to anticipate what comes next. For millions, the ruling in United States versus Alliance for Digital Sovereignty feels both sudden and deeply personal. It's not just a headline, it's a question of identity, privacy, and the future of how we connect. Across the country, people are asking, what does this mean for my job, my family, my freedom to access information? Will our internet become fragmented? Could the digital world we've come to rely on splinter along state lines, creating new barriers where there were none before? Experts warn that the consequences could be far-reaching, affecting everything from online education to emergency services. Will states control the flow of information? The prospect of 50 different sets of rules for the internet is no longer a distant possibility. It's a looming reality. Lawmakers are already drafting new bills, and advocacy groups are mobilizing to protect digital rights at the state level. These are no longer abstract questions. They are urgent, practical concerns that demand answers. Small business owners, educators, and everyday citizens are all searching for clarity in a rapidly changing landscape. Tonight, we break down what happened, why it matters, and what it means for you. We'll hear from legal experts, technologists, and the people whose lives will be most affected by this historic decision. Our goal, to help you understand the stakes, the challenges, and the opportunities that lie ahead. The nation stands at a crossroads, and the choices ahead will shape our digital future. As we navigate this new era, one thing is certain: the decisions we make now will echo for generations. The world is watching, and the next chapter is about to be written. To understand the impact of this ruling, we must first understand the Supreme Court itself. 9 justices, appointed for life, serve as the final interpreters of the Constitution. Their decisions shape American society for generations, settling disputes on civil rights, free speech, and the balance of power. The court hears only a fraction of cases, focusing on those with the greatest constitutional stakes. Yesterday's 6-3 split reflects the current ideological divide, with the conservative majority steering the outcome. These 9 individuals are not just judges, they are the ultimate arbiters of American law. Their words carry the weight to alter the nation's course. Our story begins in the halls of Congress just 2 years ago, when a sense of urgency swept through the nation's lawmakers. The digital landscape was rapidly evolving, and the need for a unified approach to regulation had never been clearer. In response, Congress passed the Federal Digital Infrastructure Act, an ambitious and sweeping law designed to bring all 50 states under a single, cohesive framework for digital regulation. The goal was to modernize the nation's digital infrastructure, streamline cybersecurity standards, and ensure that every American, regardless of where they lived, had equal access to secure digital services. Supporters hailed the act as a landmark achievement They argued it was essential for national security, economic competitiveness, and bridging the digital divide. For many, it represented a bold step toward a safer, more connected future, where everyone could benefit from the same protections and opportunities online. But not everyone agreed. Critics, led by powerful voices in Texas and Florida, denounced the law as a blatant case of federal overreach. They warned it would strip states of their ability to govern their own digital affairs and set dangerous precedents for centralized control. In response, a coalition of states quickly formed the Alliance for Digital Sovereignty. Within days, they filed a lawsuit, arguing that the act trampled on states' rights and violated the Constitution's balance of power. The legal battle escalated rapidly. In the Ninth Circuit, federal judges sided with Congress, upholding the law and emphasizing the need for national standards in an interconnected world. But in the Fifth Circuit, the outcome was the opposite. Judges there struck down the act, ruling that it infringed on state sovereignty and exceeded federal authority. The result was legal chaos: one law, two conflicting rulings, and a nation left in limbo. With uncertainty mounting, an emergency appeal was filed to the Supreme Court, thrusting the issue into the national spotlight. The federal government warned that the confusion threatened to disrupt the economy and expose critical systems to cyber threats. Officials urged the Supreme Court to act swiftly, arguing that the stakes for national security and economic stability were too high to ignore. Meanwhile, the Alliance for Digital Sovereignty remained steadfast. Confident in their constitutional arguments, they demanded a prompt and decisive resolution, insisting that the rights of states must be protected at all costs. And so, the stage was set for a historic showdown, one that would determine the balance of power between federal and state governments in the digital age and shape the future of digital rights for generations to come. As the nation watched and waited, the Supreme Court prepared to deliver its answer. Yesterday, after months of anticipation, that answer finally arrived, marking a pivotal moment in the ongoing struggle over digital governance in America. In a stunning and unexpected emergency ruling, the Supreme Court has dramatically shifted the nation's digital future. In a late-night session, the justices sided with the states, issuing an order that immediately halts the Federal Digital Infrastructure Act nationwide. The decision sent shockwaves through Washington and across the country, as the highest court in the land intervened to stop a law that was set to transform how Americans connect, communicate, and do business online. The 6-3 decision signaled deep skepticism about the law's constitutionality, freezing billions in federal funding and leaving companies in regulatory limbo. Overnight, major digital projects ground to a halt, and uncertainty rippled through the tech sector. The ruling not only paused federal initiatives but also left countless businesses and workers unsure about their next steps. For ordinary Americans, the future of internet service, data privacy, and digital payments is now uncertain. Families worry about rising costs while small businesses fear disruptions to their online operations. Many are left wondering if their personal data will remain protected, or if new state rules will change how they access essential digital services. The majority opinion argued that the FDIA regulated activities that, under the 10th Amendment, should be left to the states. The justices emphasized that the Constitution limits federal power, especially when it comes to issues traditionally managed by state governments. The court's message was clear: national problems, no matter how urgent, don't automatically justify sweeping federal control. The ruling reaffirmed the importance of state sovereignty and the delicate balance of power between Washington and the states. Governors in the Alliance for Digital Sovereignty celebrated what they called a landmark victory for state rights. They argued that local leaders are better equipped to address the unique digital needs of their communities, and hailed the decision as a turning point in the ongoing debate over federal versus state authority. Meanwhile, tech leaders warned of a fractured internet and stifled innovation. They cautioned that a patchwork of state regulations could slow progress, increase costs, and make it harder for American companies to compete globally. The uncertainty has left the industry on edge, with many calling for urgent action to restore stability. The ruling has created a power vacuum, with states scrambling to fill it. Legislatures are rushing to draft new laws, and governors are convening emergency sessions to address the sudden regulatory gap. The race is on to establish new rules before confusion and disruption spread further. The consequences are immediate, and the nation is bracing for what comes next. Americans everywhere are watching closely, anxious about how these changes will affect their daily lives, their jobs, and the country's digital future. The digital landscape has changed overnight. As the dust settles, the nation stands at a crossroads, facing a new era of uncertainty and opportunity in the digital age. The majority, Chief Justice Roberts and Justices Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett, anchored their decision in a narrow reading of the Commerce Clause. They argued the FDIA overreached, regulating local infrastructure and data that never crossed state lines. The 10th Amendment, they said, protects states from federal overreach, especially in new technological arenas. Justice Thomas, in a concurring opinion, called for an even stricter interpretation, hinting at future challenges to federal power. The majority's message: decentralization fosters innovation and respects America's diversity. States, not Washington, should drive digital policy. This ruling is a bold declaration of state power in the digital era. In dissent, Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson warned the majority's decision ignores the realities of a connected world. They argued only the federal government can manage the seamless interstate nature of digital networks and protect against cascading cyber threats. The dissent predicted widening inequality, with some states advancing and others falling behind, a digital divide deepening across America. They called the ruling a reckless, premature move that risks chaos and division. Their warning: the court's intervention may have opened a Pandora's box of instability. The ruling has thrown Washington into turmoil, with the White House vowing to fight for a unified digital future. Congress is split. Some push for a new law, others for a constitutional amendment. The tech sector faces a nightmare: 50 sets of rules, rising costs, and stifled innovation. Markets tumbled as uncertainty spread. Socially, the decision threatens to fracture the internet, with states potentially blocking content and deepening the digital divide. The American experience is changing. What was once a unified digital space may soon be a patchwork of state-controlled networks. Crossing a state line online could become as complex as crossing a national border. The decision challenges our assumptions about unity in the digital age. The ripples are only beginning. Dr. Evelyn Reed, constitutional law scholar, calls this the most significant federalism ruling in decades. She likens the FDIA to the national highway system, meant to unify, now halted by the court's insistence on state autonomy. Reed warns of years of legal chaos, states crafting conflicting rules, lawsuits multiplying, businesses caught in the crossfire. Only new, carefully crafted legislation can restore stability. Reed also cautions that the court's emergency action risks its own legitimacy, blurring the line between law and politics. The stakes are higher than one law. They touch the credibility of the nation's highest court. The path forward is uncertain, and the consequences will echo for years. America's digital future hangs in the balance. Tonight, America stands at a turning point. The Supreme Court's decision has redrawn the map of power, leaving states and citizens to navigate a fractured digital landscape. The debates now move to state houses and boardrooms, where the future of the internet will be shaped. This is a moment for reflection and engagement. Every citizen has a stake in what comes next. The choices made now will define our digital lives for decades. The story of America is one of tension and change. This decision is a new chapter. We all have a role in writing it. The future is unwritten. Let's shape it together.